to episode 15 of Grizzled Veterans, ladies and gentlemen. I am one of your first hosts, Jason Rose.
And I'd be the co-host, Donovan Darko Ozia.
And we are Grizzled Veterans, of course. And today is the first of hopefully many video casting privileges.
Greetings.
Say hi to everybody. Peace. This is only the first episode before we move into our multi-million-dollar studio.
That's right.
So you only have to put up with this for a little while longer.
Ram Shakalam.
Yeah. Ragalam. And cheers. Yes. Yeah. So now you can see Donovan's drinking coffee. I'm having a beer. Anyway, so what's new with you? What's up?
Well, I go old school, man. I play games from 3 years ago.
So yeah, you've been playing what?
I've been digging into The Last Remnant after I got through...
What's this Last Remnant thing?
Well, that's sort of an underdog Square Enix title from a few years ago. It came out on Xbox. And it's just been one of those games that, you know, wasn't at the top of my list when it came out, but I've been trying to finally get through it. I got this list of games that I'm trying to, you know...
Ladies and gentlemen, Donovan has some weird gaming habits. He plays games in staggered intervals that I could never understand. I couldn't do it.
Some people read books like that. I guess I play games like that.
I just don't know how do you stay, like, engaged with that? How could you pick up a book that you haven't read for 6 months? Or 3 months?
I'm not saying...
How you play a game, especially an RPG, that's just story-wise and shit. I could never do it.
Yeah, it's
weird. And that's why you were crazy.
Oh.
I mean, you're just crazy. Like, you see Donovan on the sidewalk, just turn around and walk away. Like, he's...
Especially if I'm wearing my trench coat.
Choke you out.
No, it's a really cool game. It's got a very unique battle system. Really, it has none of the sort of tropes as far as like traditional leveling systems that you would see in a traditional JRPG. So, I mean, obviously, if you gain strength through battling, but it's almost it's not random. But they never really let you know how far along you're.
Does it have achievements?
Oh yeah.
It's a 360 game. I have no idea why it didn't come to the PS3.
Yeah, it sucks too because I got to a point yesterday where I missed. I went too far in order to get like 100-point achievement by beating a certain boss that.
Don't you just hate when that happens?
I got a little irked by that. Yeah, I went back to go do it after strengthening my guys a bit, but I'd gone a little too far. And so I'm missing out on like 100-point achievement because it's one of those games where it doesn't have a lot of achievements, but they're all worth quite a bit. So
you're enjoying it. You're almost finished it.
Yeah, I want to wrap it up so then I can move into BioShock and finish that.
What's your pseudo review? What's your quick take on it?
On Last Remnant?
Yeah, what would you give it?
I you know what? It's got some technical faults, but aside from that, it's a fun game. It's solid.
It looks good.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? Just flipping through. I've seen a couple videos of it. I do remember. Yeah. It looks like Final Fantasy 12, but obviously like a next gen version of it.
Yeah, and I mean like part of the team that worked on Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah, you can tell the influence
worked on this. So I would definitely give it like a 7.7.
7.7. It's a unique score. But
yeah.
Hey, it's a good score.
Yeah.
Well, today is the NHL trade deadline.
Oh, right.
So the Caps, we made one move today. We got Martin Erat, but we traded supposedly like the best prospect going. He was Martin Erat. He's a veteran centerman from the Nashville Predators, and we picked him up and supposedly traded the MVP, one of the best young players. Oh yeah. If you're a man, you gotta like some sports.
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
and Jay Rose likes his sports.
I did appreciate that little, you know, as far as the NCAA thing goes. I mean,
well, it's still going on. The Final Four is Saturday, which is also my birthday, so you'll be forced to watch it.
Your birthday?
Saturday.
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, we're just gonna hang out.
Okay.
We're gonna do basically this.
All right.
Maybe we'll video cast it.
You're all invited.
Come on.
Let's start the party.
No,
Come on up to Canada.
Trade deadline. I don't know, man. We're making a push. We're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I know we are.
Right
it's
on.
been a down year, but Ovi, he's coming on. Russian.
Nice.
Big Russian fan.
I kind of feel bad for the Jays.
Why? Because they lost their opener?
That opener they had the huge crowd out. And
it doesn't matter. Things will happen. I could keep breaking it down for you, but I'm sure the people don't want to hear me break down sports.
Yeah.
Even though that's my other expertise. I'm only good at two things in life. Video games is one. Sports are obviously the other one.
Well, if you follow this guy on Twitter, you'll know all about that.
Oh yeah, you hate it. You're just like whatever.
Boring.
Skim it. A multifaceted human being.
Yeah. So
But I guess we get into the real meat.
Let's dig.
of our podcast, what we talk about is video games, if you didn't know.
Mostly.
And some sad news. Keep continuing with the trend of layoffs and shit.
This is getting crazy.
Everyone knew Disney purchased Lucasfilm and LucasArts and all that stuff for like $4 billion. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, 4 point something.
And today they shut down LucasArts Studios as a gaming branch. That's crazy. What do you think about that?
It shocked me. I was kind of blown away by it. These guys have been around for a couple of decades.
So my earliest gaming memories, the Secrets of Monkey Island and stuff like that, came from Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, I remember stuff before this, but the Super Nintendo Star Wars games.
Oh yeah.
Those ones really stood out for me. In fact, I've got 2 or 3. I think I've got.
Those games are hard.
They are hard. I've got 2 of them.
But they're really good.
They're great games.
They're really, really good games.
Unfortunately, I guess, the last few things they've been working on haven't hit the mark as hard.
They haven't made a lot of good decisions, Donovan.
Yeah.
Like what hasn't panned out compared to what people want sequels of, like a new Battlefront. I don't know. They just have a lot of properties that seem to be ignored.
Yeah.
Well, what everyone's worried about right now is the future of, or the outcome of Star Wars 1313.
Yeah.
Which looked amazing.
It looks great. And, I mean, what they showed looked polished. Now, granted, Gearbox showed us some polished aliens, colonial marines, and that's not what we got either.
Well, who knows? But it did look.
It looked great. It looked promising. I was intrigued by it.
So now they're turning their development into licensing. Yeah. So they'll license their properties and game ideas to people who obviously pay for it and pick them up or work in conjunction. I don't really know the who-bob about it.
There's a good side to this.
Is there?
I mean, if they find good people to work with, who's to say Platinum Games couldn't do like LucasArts licensed
Platinum Games should just make everything.
We love Platinum Games.
Let's just make every game. I remember there was a NeoGAF thread on should Platinum Games just make every game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. What if Platinum Games did a Jedi-style game?
Be awesome. It would be better than most of the shit that we've ever seen from Star Wars.
So let's hope that when they start licensing things out, that they pick some good people to work with.
Yeah, it's just a shame to see people lose their jobs. But from what I'm reading from some people in the know, I don't think it's going to be the end of the layoffs this year. I think there's going to be more of this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's
like we've talked about before, though. Gaming's really in flux right now. They're trying to find. We talked about it at length. Budgets just can't continue. The business models, like recently, like Square Enix, for instance, Tomb Raider is a disappointment. It sold like 3 million copies.
And that's a disappointment?
And it's only been out 2 weeks. Like, that mentality and business model cannot continue in order for companies to make games.
Well, and I think that's where some of the benefits of the new systems are going to come forward, because the new engines that are coming out are easier to work with than previous iterations. Like Kojima's going on about how easy it is for...
Well, his Fox engine is supposed to be very efficient.
Yeah, and they've said the same things about the Unreal 4 engine. So I'm hoping that...
Power and work... Like, engines are fine, but we're going to be avoiding a problem with the PS3 and new... Or PS4 and the new Xbox system are going to be very similar in their architecture and base. So companies are going to be able to supply developers with universal tools.
Yeah.
And it's the ease of use, so hopefully that carries over. But the bloating budgets of games, it's just... We've talked about it before. It can't continue.
No.
Because it's just that's not the future of game. There has to be a way to streamline development, but I don't have the answers.
No.
Like, everyone wants... there's lots of talk about all the time about the Japanese gaming industry needs to become more like the West, where the Western model is just throw a fuck ton of money at it and make it as big budget as possible.
Make it look shiny.
Well, I don't mean the games aren't playing well. It's just that's not the answer. The answer isn't to just make a huge budget, because that's not the business model you want to promote.
You have to have a good game. A budget's not going to make a good game. A developer's, you got to start with a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. bad times are ahead if they can't get this money and budget thing under control, because it's just, you're going to see less. All it takes is one failure for these companies to, other than the biggest of the big, to crumble.
And yet, on the flip side of that, it makes it almost like the indie developers are kind of in a better position now.
Well, that's what we talked about before.
Yeah.
Like, it's more appealing and appetizing because you can make a game with a fraction of the budget, ease of use, and even if it doesn't sell shit, you're not crippled.
No.
You're on to the next one.
Well, you got smaller teams,
Yeah.
so your losses are cut way down if it's not a success. And I mean, we're seeing a lot more indie games coming to the Xbox Live Marketplace, but even more so to the PlayStation Network.
And that's great. But there has to, not everything can be indie, and not everything can be AAA. But, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying there has to be, it seemed like in the SNES days and even the like the PlayStation 1 days, sure, we got a lot of shovelware shit, but there was room for the middle tier developer and the middle tier game to thrive.
I wonder if maybe,
You know what it reminds me of? Today's economy. Let's get into politics, man. No, let's not. No, but the middle income's disappearing, just like the middle tier game.
Yeah. Well, and it makes me wonder if some of these indie developers start to see some success in the next couple of years, then you could see a shift there, that the indie developers start getting bigger budgets.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just know it can't keep continuing like this.
No, and we're definitely in a period of flux. So it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen on both fronts.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Our main story is obviously going to be GDC happened.
Yep.
There's a lot of shit that happened at GDC, but the only thing I really want to talk about is
DuckTales. Woo!
Yes! the new DuckTales remaster. I mean, people are going nuts about that.
I know.
And I have to admit that DuckTales growing up,
well, sure.
we're old as shit. Like, look at this beard, baby. This is the gray beard. You shall not pass!
But yeah, we both watched DuckTales when we were kids.
Oh, I love that show.
And
Scrooge.
Yeah, and some of the other Disney cartoons. But I mean, what kind of excites me about this is if this is successful, then we could start seeing more of these. And not just the Disney games, but I'm kind of like, I'm going to start tweeting a bit more about this, but I want to see a Mega Man 2 HD remake. I've been wanting that for years.
I just want to see Mega Man, period. I don't.
Well, what better way to bring him back?
But man, we can go on. Like, if Capcom just wanted to make money, they could put a marginal update to the Mega Man games and release them with trophies and achievements. Mm-hmm. People will buy them. Just like they could. Square Enix is having tons of financial problems, and there's layoffs. If we want to talk about layoffs, they just laid off a ton of people at the LA
how about
office.
the president stepping down?
Well, as you should. I mean, this is nothing but good news. Ever since he took over, it's been nothing but shit from Square Enix.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk about a complete restructuring, which is just very political. But all they fired from the LA was marketing and PR people. This is just a show. It's to pass the buck. I saw a guy on Twitter say, this is Square Enix's Japan branch passing the buck on their failures because they're looking for scapegoats. And all the problems lie in the land of the rising sun.
Anybody
they're not
that's,
here.
Doesn't have their ear to the ground.
But if Square Enix just wanted to make money, release all your old games with trophies and achievements. If you look on the PSN store, all the highest selling games
are all the Final
Fantasy games
Tactics.
And Grand Theft Auto. But like 6 out of the 10
Yep.
are all Final Fantasy games. Those same people would rebuy them
just for the trophies.
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
Well, I mean,
and that's your short-term fix to make money right there. Then get your shit on and start making HD remakes.
They're gonna make money off this 10-2 HD remake.
Well, I'll buy it for sure.
I'm gonna buy it.
I love Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, and it's not my favorite. I'm actually hoping if it does well, they do 12. And I've mentioned that before.
Oh, 10 way more than 12.
12 has,
but 12, we talked about it here again before. 12 was a victim of being a generation too early.
And it might do better now than it did back then.
They'd have to polish certain aspects of it, but again, like I just said, it's a victim of being a generation early. The scope of the game, the hardware couldn't execute on that idea.
Last Remnant is in,
like I said,
the same kind of
what
stuff.
What did we just say? It sounded like Final Fantasy 12 art design,
It's
like
deep. The systems in that game are very, very deep.
even the character design looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're very resemblant. They bear resemblance. Hello? Yeah, anyway, but the big story coming out of GC, let's get right into it. Kojima-san! Joachim Mogren. Yeah, as far as Metal Gear Solid 5. So, as we talked about before, how I thought
we already
Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain were one and the same.
At the same time, are we going to see staggered releases of this stuff? Because the way he's talking about it is that Ground Zeroes happens before Phantom Pain.
Yeah, but it's like is it
all going to be on the same disc?
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be the same thing. Well, it depends on the 360. They won't fit it on the one disc. It'll be one Blu-ray.
Yeah,
if that's what you're going to talk. But it's like the Virtuous mission in Metal Gear Solid 3. It's going to be the prologue. It'll cover. Okay, let's just get to what that'll cover, what the story and what we think about it afterwards. Yeah. But he came out with the bandage shit, and of course everyone knew. I like the little play. Some people,
me too.
People take shit way too seriously.
I thought that was great.
Like everyone's like, oh, so can he not just say things and come out and be clear on things? You know what? It takes all kinds of people.
It's more fun that way.
I love Kojima. He's my favorite developer.
And I'm convinced that he's lied about a few things in that interview that he just did with Jeff Keighley. Sure. On purpose.
I mean, there's nothing clear even now about what Metal Gear Solid 5 is. The only real clear thing is that it's one and the same game.
Yeah.
But, so he came out, and then he got right to it. He went right into the trailer using a song from Garbage.
Cool song.
You know, fun note about Garbage, she was in Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles in the second season, which is a show that needs to be, and like, I've never supported a Kickstarter, but if they put a season 3 up for Kickstarter, I would support that in a heartbeat. I love that show.
I watched that show.
The only problem they'd have is getting Sarah Connor back, because she plays Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones, and I don't think she's going to give up that gig.
No.
But who knows? I mean, if she got paid enough, she'd probably come back in the off.
If they, well, come on, Game of Thrones only films for a short time of the year, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
But anyway, the trailer. What did you think of the trailer?
It was good. I mean, we had some footage we've already seen from both trailers get mixed together, but we also got new footage. Lots of stuff in there. Tons
of info.
Big Boss, Ocelot, Psycho Mantis.
Well, there's lots of quick fire things.
Yeah.
But there was really two trailers. There was that initial trailer that showed the song, but then he went to what he said is the tutorial of the Phantom Pain section, which is the main thrust of the game.
I watched that afterwards, and that's a gameplay,
which is what we saw at the VGAs. That's a lot of the stuff we saw at the VGAs.
But now it was like, they're
in a gameplay
showing
mode,
that it's being played and the whole bit, right? So,
but the trailer showed basically an attack on the
hospital.
What was his base in Peace Walker?
Oh right,
Les Sans Frontières.
Yeah,
Frontier. But after Peace Walker, you never played Peace Walker.
No, but and he's flying away in the chopper, looking at the base.
But this is what it is, and this is what leads into, as we know, Big Boss's eventual turn into his whole mentality, and into Outer Heaven and Zanzibar Land, which was Metal Gear and the first game on the NES.
Right.
So this is obviously the attack on his base, and the outcome is what they allude to in the trailer is he's in a coma for 9 years.
Now we also have to wonder if that's the truth.
Well, that's it. I mean, is it the truth? Because we don't actually hear the voices. You don't. Well, you hear voices, but then you get Master Miller, who is in Peace Walker. It's an early version.
Okay,
you didn't play it. Again.
I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. He says, but he refers to a third person. In when they get up off the slab,
right?
In that thing.
Kojima in the interview with Jeff Keighley was like, "Oh, that's me."
What?
The third person.
Oh, yes, you're right. I saw that, but yeah, it's very dodgy. I mean, obviously we'll learn more, but
yeah, speculation is pointing to Frank Yeager.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
If we're speculating here, we do know that Big Boss recruited Frank Yeager, who is Gray Fox, as you know, in Metal Gear Solid 1. Hurt me more, Snake. He's an awesome character.
Yeah.
He's so dope. But
I had a buddy.
But the voice in it, the first thing I know, I'm a huge 24 fan. That's Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. But who... He says his name is Ishmael.
Yeah.
Ishmael is the one guy who's guiding you in that tutorial.
Right.
As you stagger through and the Phantom Pain comes through, he's an amputee.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's never in the canon of Metal Gear do we know that Big Boss lost an arm. It never says that.
Right.
But then again, he's wearing gloves all the time. And he's wearing a glove at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 when you see him.
Right.
But, which also leads, if we want to talk about voices, that David Hayter won't be voicing Snake, Big Boss.
Right. Now, who's to say that he's not gonna...
Yeah, and everyone's up in arms here.
Oh,
and
give me a break.
I don't get it because, okay, Big Boss isn't Snake. He's Naked Snake in Metal Gear Solid 3, but he's moved so far past that.
Yeah.
What we do know is that he changes completely from what Solid Snake becomes.
Yes.
And is voiced by Richard Doyle.
Big Boss is not a hero by the end of things. I mean, he's a hero in his own mind.
I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be.
Well, I mean, we don't really know the ration. This is what these games are covering.
Yeah.
I mean, the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 sheds a lot of light into his mentality, but that's the finality of the entire thing. But he's voiced by someone different, who I actually love the voice of Richard Doyle, who voiced Big Boss then. So there has to be a switch. I'm fine with David Hayter not voicing. It's weird if Solid Snake and Big Boss are voiced by the same people now.
Yeah. And
plus he's been in a coma. Who knows? Maybe there's some trauma to his larynx.
I kind of thought that maybe Kiefer Sutherland was doing the voice of Big Boss.
A lot of people said that, but the person talking, you don't really know who the voice was coming from. But what I gathered is that wasn't the person. It was the person talking.
I don't know if there's three people in that.
It was the person bandaged.
Right.
That was talking.
That's Ishmael.
That's right, and that seems to be the Kiefer Sutherland character.
You think so?
But again, we don't know all the details. Is he even real? Is this a figment of imagination? And is that actually him projecting his image out? We don't know. Right. So maybe, but you don't actually hear the person talking.
Yeah.
That is seen.
Because obviously that's not Miller.
Who knows? And this is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, who knows? But
Kiefer Sutherland would definitely be a weird choice to voice Big Boss.
You think?
Yeah, because how do you go from that to what we know eventually happens in Richard Doyle for Metal Gear Solid 4?
Yeah.
Because Big Boss ages quickly. Like after that 9 year stint.
But Kiefer's got that gravelly voice.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if your final character is voiced by someone else completely. Do you really want to have three people voicing the same character?
Well, to me, this is just an indication of how, Kojima's kind of in bed with Hollywood right now to get the Metal Gear Solid movie made and stuff like that. So I'm almost wondering if some of that is now trickling into his game development, because now he's...
Well, it's always been a part of his development,
well,
though.
Sure, absolutely.
He's
but
directing movies.
But I think, he's been known for that, but now he's kind of... Like, game developers are now at a higher echelon of celebrity level, we'll say, than they used to be, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that he's got more clout now than he did.
So he
back when
he'd like to use the Metal Gear Solid 5 game as a vehicle to sort of gain more Hollywood appeal.
I wonder about that.
Maybe, but I mean, in terms of a pure game aspect of it, I'm fine with David Hayter not voicing Snake. Now, saying that,
or Big Boss.
Big Boss, yeah sorry. Saying that, when Solid Snake does make an inevitable appearance again in a Metal Gear game,
then you do want it.
And David Hayter doesn't appear, then I'll have an issue with it. And based on what's said, I don't think he wants David Hayter voicing Snake at all. That's what I've gathered, so who knows?
Yeah. That's weird.
David Hayter needs to stop talking now. He's coming across a little whiny.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I understand he's bitter about it, but he's put out a bunch of statements that are like, oh, I want to be a part of it and da-da-da-da, but he doesn't understand that, like, Big Boss isn't Snake. Just stop, let it go, man.
I think, probably from his perspective, he's been a part of this franchise for so long.
And he still will be when his character comes back.
Yeah.
Big Boss isn't Snake.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it's just not. And
I'm with you there.
It's fine. His voice is awesome. And again, like I said, I'll be right there championing that cause if he's not voicing Solid Snake in any game.
Right.
So, who knows?
War has changed Our time has ended. Our war is over.
But then again, this could be one big mindfuck by Kojima and everybody. Who knows?
He's the king of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think I understand why people are upset because I mean, Solid Snake is one of the most iconic characters and voices, for that matter, in gaming.
No, definitely.
So I can understand why people would be a little miffed, but at the same time, I think that they're whining for sure, and they need to kind of look at.
Well, they just don't understand.
Look at the big picture.
Basically, what I just said.
Yeah.
Like, Big Boss is not Snake, and we know his voice changes. So get it out of the way now.
Yeah,
that's it. But all in all, it looks awesome.
And he said that this is going to be a very different Metal Gear game.
Open world, but I think it's still going to be Metal Gear through and through.
I think that we're going to see.
So you need to play Peace Walker, because when he says different, I think it's going to take a lot of aspects from Peace Walker into this game, because Peace Walker's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
It takes what Portable Ops did and like evolves it and makes it better. But Peace Walker also wasn't perfect either.
Right.
It had some problems based on boss design and the multiplayer aspect. And I really hope he doesn't force multiplayer down our throats, but there's so much left in the air that, why am I even going to speculate on that right now?
Yeah.
All I know is the game looks gorgeous, and the big surprise, at the end of the trailer was like current gen systems. No Wii U, mind you, because we know now that Unreal 4 doesn't run on Wii U, Fox Engine doesn't want to run on the Wii U, and what was the other one that doesn't run on it? All these next gen...
Havoc?
I can't remember. All these next gen engines
that won't run on the
don't
Wii U.
run on the Wii U.
I
mean, it's getting worse.
Nintendo, you're in rough shape.
It's getting bad. Then there's just a rumor that now it could have been an April Fool's, and there hasn't been anything to substantiate it yet, but there's a rumor that Bayonetta 2 is actually a time exclusive for Nintendo, and it's going to hit current gen systems, PS3 and 360, like later.
Wow.
We'll see. But I don't know. Then they went into a big thing on the Fox engine, which was very technical, but it's impressive.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have anything to do with the game proper. Well, actually, it has everything to do with it, but...
Well, they basically, what I didn't get to see the full presentation, but what I got of what he said, the ease of use of the Fox engine will allow like a level designer to do more than just be...
And they're bordering on photorealism and a lot of different things. He says, like, at the touch of a button, you can change it. He actually showed the past Ground Zeroes trailer as a daytime trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, like he changed the whole perspective on it. Went from a nighttime to a daytime.
And apparently it's got a 24-hour persistent clock in the game.
Yeah, like it's impressive. It's beyond the scope of us, obviously, and this podcast.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the Fox engine is efficient and it's extremely impressive.
On a really quick side note, since you mentioned photorealism, the new Red Band trailer for The Last of Us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, and that's the thing we haven't talked about recently about The Last of Us, but a lot more details have come out.
Yeah.
Based on it's a parasitic fungus virus.
Yeah.
That which I think that's quite
It's
cool.
a cool idea, but it's still zombies.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's not just it's not a virus and the zombies.
Yeah.
And that clicking, it's eerie. It looks like it's going to be a lot more survival horror than a lot of people felt.
Yeah. I'm definitely keeping my eye out.
June release for that game, like the day after E3.
Oh wow. It's going to do just fine.
Well, it is Naughty Dog. A lot of people will buy it, but do you have anything to say about Metal Gear Solid 5? As I stated before, that Phantom Pain, the Metal Gear Solid fit right in that.
Oh, of course, it was exactly like they predicted. I like the Diamond Dogs thing. I love that Kojima is a music lover, and it comes through in his games. Just the fact that
but he's a literature lover, a film buff. He incorporates all this knowledge.
Yeah,
it doesn't always make complete sense.
No,
but the ideas in them, even the ideas of like Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, 4, they all push an idea. Metal Gear Solid 1 was passing on our genes.
Yep,
they have an overarching theme that's extremely deep.
And then
it's easy to sit there and say, "Oh, nanomachines," because Metal Gear Solid 4 did that a lot. But there's themes there.
Yeah. Well, no, each game has got a very prominent theme, and I guess he's keeping mum on what this one's all about.
Oh, there's so much to learn, and
I think this is going to be one of the most psychological Metal Gear games
as well. I agree, But I mean, what we know is Ground Zeroes is like the virtuous mission. That's the beginning.
Yeah.
The Phantom Pain is the main mission.
Yeah, that's the meat right there.
And whether it ends up being called the Phantom Pain or not, I don't know.
I hope it does. I love that name.
I don't know. It's a little different.
That's why I like it.
I guess, but again, I don't know enough to give you any details on whether that applies.
I don't know. I like the sound of it. I think there's a lot of meaning there that we don't know about yet. I mean, they mentioned 2 phantoms were
I love
born.
it. Yeah, like the thing is based on the times. That's one thing we completely missed on the Les Enfants Terribles, which
this is why
project it happens before he goes into coma. And supposedly that's when the Patriots took the DNA from him to make Liquid, Solidus, and Solid Snake. So is that going to play into this game?
I think it totally is.
That's awesome. And like, is that going to work into David Hayter coming?
Well, that's what bullshit. I mean.
I don't know. This is why I can honestly say Metal Gear Solid is my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
It surpassed everything to me, and it means so much to me.
Well, like I said, to extend on my point was like the storytelling in this is going to be like he's getting better and better with like the mature story writing, the bigger themes, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see what the story of this game is going to be all about.
I don't think people give like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4 enough credit for the storytelling. I think, and what they try to do, and they focus
too much on the fact that you've got long cutscenes, and while that's true, so what?
They've always been a part of the series. If you don't like them, don't play the game. Like, I understand 4 took it a little bit extra, but it had so many loose ends to tie up that it was almost impossible to do, to live up and tie up all these abstract elements. And for that, I think it did a hell of a job.
I totally enjoyed Metal Gear Solid. And
to come full circle, I remember watching the Metal Gear Solid 4 credits, which was one of the most epic finales, if not the most epic finale in a game I've ever played. Like, all the way, like that whole finale finish.
Yeah.
And then the credits roll, and when the credits zoom in and stop on Big Boss, Richard Doyle, and it pauses and that music hits, it was like 3:30 in the morning. Maybe I was delusional, but I was blown the fuck away. Like, I was like, what is happening here? And it just pauses, and it shows Snake, and you hear the voice, good. Not time to go yet. Ding, and the Metal Gear which again, I think it had one of the most iconic soundtracks as well.
Oh, that the soundtrack in MGS4 is fantastic.
There were so many good moments in Metal Gear Solid 4 that I don't know. I love Metal Gear Solid games. They're the best to me.
Don't worry, I'll cue the theme at this point.
Yeah, you got it. I just want to tie the headband on and give me an eye patch.
All right, we got to move on.
Let's get to some recent games that we're playing. We'll do a couple of reviews. Why not?
We'll
wing it, man. We'll wing it.
All
like a pterodactyl.
Anyway. So,
let's go Tomb Raider first.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it last episode.
But we hadn't finished it.
No. You were further than I, but we've both finished it.
Hey, and like you and I have talked about it before, but it's a great game. But there's just something about it that... I could talk to you about this before, but it's a forgettable experience to me in a lot of ways. Even though it was, produced well and there's a decent story, I'm more interested in what's going to happen next than I am with what I just went through. Does that make sense?
Say that again. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's not that I don't think it was like a well-told story and that the presentation and all that stuff it's really well done. But I'm more interested in what's going to happen next than I am with what I just went through. So
I don't know. This game wasn't all about the story. It was passable to me, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought the game was great.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun game. I played it from start to finish, pretty much nonstop. So I do that,
and it looked phenomenal.
Yeah, but it just left me like there was something missing.
I think, I mean, I can't speak for you, but the extra characters that were there kind of took away from the experience because they weren't likable at all, and they really didn't add anything.
Yeah.
They were just a detriment. I mean, I guess Sam, was a vehicle to move the thing along.
Sure.
The bad guy kind of sucked, like the main bad guy.
It was okay.
But I like the whole, like, supernatural elements are fine to me.
Yep.
Tomb Raider has always had supernatural
Sure.
elements, and the way they did it was very cool.
No, I like,
and I loved like some of the. It got very dark at times. You know, go into that pit of blood. And
well, yeah, and
guts.
I really enjoyed like when you would find like a diary from somebody, and like the voice acting was really well done.
And they didn't force exposition and stuff down your throat. They let the diaries and stuff tell the story of some of these characters, which was a good idea.
Yeah.
And let you explore and
give you history of the island, and
you learn more about the characters as well. For instance, the colored girl, what was her name?
I can't remember.
But she had a child by Doyle, your pseudo mentor in the game, which he was okay.
No, he was pretty cool.
But I mean, this game just had some jaw-dropping action moments that really got your heart going.
Which is not necessarily what I expect from a Tomb Raider game, even though it was really well done.
See, I mean, I think today's games have really set a precedent for what Tomb Raider had to be and achieve.
I suppose.
As well as the movies.
Yeah.
But I really love the redesign of Laura. I thought she looks very good.
Yeah, and she looks natural.
Natural.
Yeah.
That's it. And I mean, she took a shit kicking, man. It is a video game, but sometimes
she
I'm
got
just
the
like,
crap beat.
I was just like, oh, poor Laura.
And
like,
she just gets up.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I hurt my arm.
And she's limping for a bit.
Oh yeah.
And then she's sprinting again.
It's just like torture. But like as far as how the game progressed, I had no problem with the way she killed the guy, and then she's gone on to kill. It's a video game.
Yeah, of course.
I thought
it was going to be more jarring than it was.
The only time people tackle these elements is when the game doesn't try to tackle these elements themselves. It seems like every time a game tries to impact on a different emotional level, people want to tear it down for even trying to achieve that.
Yeah.
Or do it.
Yeah.
It's because you can't just take an element that works in a movie and apply it to a video game, because it's a fucking video game.
Yeah, it's totally different.
I mean, what are you going to do if you're not killing guys? Like, it's a game.
Well, it's like we always say, Mario kills guys.
Well, I mean, I suppose
Mega Man had his arm cannon all these years. No one ever thought about it back then because it wasn't bloody, you know.
Yeah, like I don't really care
for an
that
enemy to just to explode in a ball of light.
I don't care that she shot the dude in the face and then like 5 minutes later she's blowing dudes away left and right. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Actually, the progression of skills showed you became a more proficient killer.
Yeah.
As the game went on, which in some way alludes to the fact that you weren't great at it right away. Like you couldn't just one hit kill a guy with an axe.
Oh,
you got to learn all that stuff.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, there's some wonky elements with the salvage and stuff like that, but again, it's a game.
Yeah.
The island was extremely cool.
Yeah.
Some of the temples and shit.
Oh, the art design
were beautiful, and the way they progressed the levels and the level design was astronomical. I don't know. I think it was an achievement. I think it's a really, really, really good game.
I guess the island is the tomb. You know,
Go ahead.
I think because you don't go to a couple of different places, I was hoping for a little bit more puzzles and stuff like that. The puzzles to me, while cool, it didn't take me very long to figure most of them out.
No, they're very easy.
And I think I got stuck for a couple of minutes here and there, and it's like, okay, I get it.
A lot of people don't like puzzles in their games.
Well,
so I mean, you run the risk of alienating people, and with today's gaming crowd who have the attention span of this fucking pen.
I say go play a game that doesn't have puzzles.
I know, man, but again, it alludes to the budget thing we're talking about. You can't afford people to just put your game down.
Yeah.
That's why they had multiplayer, which is forgettable, and I don't even want to talk about it.
I didn't even load it up.
I hate it. But they got to cater to so many people these days, and attention spans are low.
I wish that instead of having to cater like that they could just focus on what's.
Well, they should, because art should be appreciated for what it is.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be everything to everybody. But again, it's easy for me to say because it's not my money on the line.
Yeah.
I'm not the company trying to turn a profit.
Yeah.
But let's stay out of the figures and keep with the fun.
Yeah.
The game, you had a problem because you didn't think there was enough tunes, right?
Well, for one thing, the downloadable tune I got for pre-ordering the game the day before it came out, I beat in 5 minutes.
Well, that's the one with the airplane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool. I mean, it's something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like, that's it?
It gave you a ton of salvage to help you update your character.
And I found it, like, so quickly, you know.
Well, it was right outside your first.
Basically,
real
I
camp.
walk out and I'm like, oh, there's a tomb.
It's hilarious because I actually missed it. I didn't complete that hidden tomb until like finish the game, which sucks because it gives you like 600 salvage. You're 800, and I was like, I updated.
Did you get 100%?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Now the only part that got me was the one camp that you can't warp to. It's on the cliffside or whatever, where the boat is, right? And you go inside and there's like the sun icons that you have to shoot.
Oh yeah,
that one.
Those are early.
Huh?
It was relatively early, that one. Oh, the sun icons. Okay,
right,
yeah.
Where Buddy was on the boat with the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to go rescue him. Well, that area you can't fast travel to.
Okay.
It's connected to the main beach.
Yeah.
So you have to go out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like one thing that I missed out there. I was like, I had 99%. I'm like, what the hell am I missing?
Oh. You know what I didn't get? It's funny. All of Laura's journals. You know when she sits at the camp? I got 9 out of 10. I don't know. I don't understand that.
That's really weird.
And I still got 100%.
That's bizarre because you just get them for sitting at the camps. Did you miss a camp?
No, because you can't to get 100%. You can't miss a camp.
That's weird.
Yeah, who knows?
Huh.
But I thought the game was really, really good. I don't know what else to say about it other than it was really well made, and I actually can't wait for the next one. Like, I'll put up, it is a complete reimagining, which we've seen a lot of lately. DMC, there's a lot of games that have been doing this recently, and it seems like every time you try to remake something iconic, you get such a backlash from people. Mm-hmm. And I honestly feel like some people just bitch for the sake of bitching, and a lot of them probably have never played a Tomb Raider game before. Mm-hmm. They're just saying that, but the reviews are really good. I think it has a ton of promise for the next game. This had a tough hill to climb because you can't just automatically make Laura Croft. You can't just. There has to be some evolution to it. And again, the tagline, "The Survivor is Born" thing. I liked the game. I liked it a lot. Like fun. I'd like to say I'd play it again, but with my limited gaming time, I don't know if I ever will. So I don't know whether I'm going to sell it or not. But I mean, if you have to compare it to Uncharted.
Yep.
And Uncharted 3, and to me, it's undoubtedly a better game than Uncharted 3.
Okay.
I don't think it's better than Uncharted 2, which is the pinnacle of the franchise. But it's like everything has to take inspiration for something. You know, Uncharted wouldn't be made without Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And other games. Now, Tomb Raider is right there with Uncharted, but it gives you a more open world experience with that same action AAA summer movie aspect.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of like a more open world Uncharted, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah.
So
I'm anxious to see the next Tomb Raider.
And all I'm saying is I want to see Lara travel.
More tombs, and I think they will. Like, they'll take the traveling Lara approach. It'll go right in. The next game will be like she's in a tomb. That's how it'll start. I guarantee you. And you'll be in fucking Zimbabwe or like Antarctica, and she'll be wearing a parka, and it'll have costume changes.
Yeah.
And it'll have all.
I was actually really surprised that of all the DLC costumes, they didn't do a variation of the classic look.
What, they had DLC costumes for the game?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure if they're usable in sync solo player or not.
Oh, yeah. I don't think so. I think they're just multiplayer.
It's probably just multiplayer.
But anyway, yeah, the game's great. I give it a 9. I'm
going to give it an 8.
You're a tough scorer, Donovan. Except when it comes to Neo Kuni and then you give it a 9.5. The game's a 7.
We're not going to touch that.
BioShock Infinite, I haven't picked it up yet.
I haven't picked it up
I got
either.
the free trial.
We're going to just talk about it briefly because we haven't played it.
No, it's the highest rated game of the year so far.
Okay.
Like, people saying it's a lot of 10 out of 10.
I'm hearing from the sites that I go to that it's not as good as BioShock 1.
I haven't heard that at all. I heard it surpasses BioShock 1 on almost pretty much every merit, storytelling and gameplay.
Really?
What sites do you...
Game trailers.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
On Invisible Walls when they were talking about it.
I think they're alone on that one, just based on what I saw. Like, Polygon gave it a 10.
I don't believe in 10s.
Yeah, but again, we talked about this last podcast. 10 doesn't mean perfect. 10 is...
What is it supposed to mean, then?
It's a achievement in the genre. Unmatched. It's not perfect. If you don't have if you can't mark a 10, then you can't even have it on the scale.
Yeah.
then what do you make, a 9 out of 9? Like that doesn't make any sense to me, and I completely disagree.
I guess with the approach that you're taking, saying it's an achievement in the industry, that's
and at the time, like it's unmatched in the genre.
Yeah. For PC. On PC.
Why?
Well, because the Xbox and PS3 can't keep up with the PC version.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean graphics either. The graphics don't have... It just
no, but it affects gameplay as well. Because,
perfect storm.
They're saying... And this is minor. But I mean, like, on the PC version, you can switch your weapons really quick. On the Xbox consoles versions, you have to take yourself out of the action to change things and whatever. That's not a big concern to me,
I
don't
care.
I mean...
PCs. Too convoluted. Never be mainstream, so it doesn't matter.
Well, anyway, I've heard lots of great stuff about it. I have guys at work that have beat it and had a great time with it.
Yeah. One thing I've heard is that it might actually work better not being a first-person shooter.
Really?
Yeah. Some of the storytelling is just a masterpiece, supposedly.
And that's why I want to play it. Because I keep hearing that the story is...
Where the game begins to fail is when it's just throwing you guys to mow down. And they think a different... I read this thread, and it was... Again, I can't pass judgment on the game because I haven't played it.
Right.
But based on what they're saying, I could see it. I could see... because it's... First-person perspective really only lends to shooting really well. It doesn't do melee well. Hand-to-hand combat's terrible.
Yeah.
Stealth... They've done it in games like Deus Ex and things, but it never works as well as the tops in the genre.
Right.
Your Metal Gears, your Splinter Cells, even Mark of the Ninja, all do it vastly better. It's hard to gauge where you are in cover versus where the enemy's line of sight is.
Yeah.
And so by definition, it only lends to shooting. And I think they want a little bit more from a game like BioShock.
I think one of the points they brought up on GT was that this one feels more like an action game than the original BioShock did, where it was a little bit more of an adventure action game. So,
but I really
these are minor gripes. Yeah. We're not trying to knock the game by any means.
I've been like hella busy, so I just haven't been able to pick it up.
Well, like I got to finish BioShock 1, so I'm going to do that, and then I think my buddy at work's going to lend me Infinite.
Like BioShock 1 is an amazing achievement, and the way the game is designed, like Rapture the City, is corridors and not large expansive environments, which I think BioShock Infinite lends itself more to.
Right.
So in that aspect, the shooting first person perspective and shooting elements work in BioShock. Now again, I can't attest to Infinite, but I could see where they're coming from with those comments. So who knows? I'll let you know when I play it.
And I mean, people are so much more judgmental now on
they're very
games.
critical, because I mean they're elevating the opinion and the critical mind. Everyone's a critic.
Exactly. And the more we play, the more we think we're critics. Well, I played that, and I played that, so if I play this, I should be able to compare them, come up with an opinion.
I think I'm a pretty good critic.
I think both of us are pretty good critics. Piss on you.
But next podcast we'll definitely have our BioShock Infinite take. Honestly, I would have picked it up if it wasn't... Like, whenever it's a first-person game, I'm so...
Me too.
I do. No matter how good this is. Like, even Dishonored. Like, Dishonored is a great game.
Yeah.
I just think it would be a better game in third-person perspective. It's so restrictive, the first-person perspective. I was having a really good conversation with someone. Like, it's nice when you can talk with somebody who has a different opinion than you, but you can, work towards something.
Right.
And I just think, like, to me, the first-person perspective is very restrictive in the fact... Well, putting my personal opinions aside, it only adheres to shooting. It doesn't, like I said, melee combat, stealth, all these other aspects, cover systems don't work as well.
And game developers struggle with this stuff, But
everything wants to be first person these days because they seem to sell so well.
Well, because people say it's more immersive.
I find it not.
Yeah.
I just seeing my hand and a gun, I don't find that immersive at all.
No. I don't either. I much prefer
even if they pulled back. It doesn't need to be full third person, like say Uncharted or an action game.
Well, imagine
over the shoulder is fine.
Well, like Resident Evil or something.
Resident
Evil
4, but not as clunky.
Yeah.
Evolve those tank controls. I mean, it's the same control scheme first person, just make it as responsive.
Yeah.
Because even like in an over-the-shoulder thing, you can use cover. You can see where you are. You can use melee attacks. Like
imagine something like Arkham City in first person.
It'd be horrible. I'd never play it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway, Bioshock Infinite.
Get it.
Highest rated game.
Yeah.
We'll play it.
We will.
We'll wrap up with our take on Microsoft.
Yeah, I guess we're at that point where Microsoft, the ball's in your court, so...
Welcome to your doom.
Yeah, it's very quiet out of $M land.
Well...
Very quiet.
And you're saying you're hearing maybe May now?
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. And they've reached out to Microsoft for comments, and obviously they don't comment on speculation and rumor, but... I initially heard April, like late April
so did
this
I.
month.
Yeah.
But now I'm hearing May. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's too late, but they're not a part of the conversation right now, and they need to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like places like Amazon and stuff are putting up pre-orders for PS4 already. You know, like.
I don't know how they don't release price. They don't know what the box looks like.
I don't know if it's a pre-order, but you know, you can go up and you see that they got the big profile of the controller and all this kind of thing.
I don't know.
So
and like shit like GameStop coming out and they think the hype is going to lead to so and so sell. It's all bullshit. They're just trying to be a part of the conversation, attach themselves to that next gen mindset, and that's what they're trying to do. And as a business, you have to do that stuff. But you can't sit there and tell me you have projections based off nothing. Based on no price, no launch, no system, and no launch games.
Well,
stupid.
At the end of the day, what's going to sell the systems? The games and what people want out of their system.
Price.
The price obviously is a big factor too. I don't think that these two systems are going to be vastly different in price.
I don't know.
I guess that's hard to say now.
We're not going to know until E3. I don't know. I just know the tech in the PS4 is super, like what they're doing with the eye and that motion bar and even the controller is not fucking cheap.
No.
It's not cheap tech. And by being on their x86 architecture, and they're using a lot of more familiar parts, where that's what drove the PS3 price up, like way up.
Well, that's gonna,
And also the Blu-ray player, it was a huge gamble for them that drove the price way up. That's what they're not going to be facing that this time around.
No,
but
so they put their R&D into the controller and that kind of thing. So
I don't know. I just want to hear something from Microsoft.
Well, me too. And I think when they do it, they're going to show us the box, and they're going to
they will,
and they're going to talk about exclusives because they have to. I also think
what though? Like honestly,
we have no idea.
What are you going to give me? A new Halo? I just had Halo 4.
Yeah.
Like that, I'll laugh because if that's all they have in their hand. It may be.
I can't see
there's
that.
There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, all I want is the new Halo, and all I want is the new Gears of War." Fuck off with that. Like, I want new games.
That's boring.
That's boring to me, and you're not going to make me buy a new Microsoft.
I've got 5 Halo games in my collection. You know,
like all new shooters to me. You're not appealing to me as a gamer. I don't need the new Call of Duty, the new Halo, the new Gears. Like, yeah, that's a foregone conclusion. What are the new? What are you doing that's new?
Yeah, and I think that they will do that because. I mean, they're gonna take they're gonna take whatever they did from the Sony presser, and they're gonna have to one up them in some way, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a big presser, I think.
What I don't want to see from Microsoft is their celebrity bullshit, their stupid music act bullshit. You know, where they bring all these people out.
I don't want kids on the stage.
I don't want that.
I want
guys,
sports celebrities on the stage.
I want guys that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Give me the straight goods. If they're pushing Kinect, so be it. Make me understand how that works.
Kinect's gonna be.
It's gonna be a massive part,
Yeah.
and honestly, that's what I'm skeptical about is how much of a part, because I don't care about Kinect and I never will.
Yeah.
But I'm old school in my mindset. They can make it work for a lot of people.
Well,
so
I think what they're gonna maybe do is use Kinect less for gaming necessarily and integrate it more into the control of the system and stuff like that.
Xbox on.
Wonder Twin powers,
play,
activate,
movie.
Oh,
yeah.
I like
pervert.
Get out. Honestly, like if my eventual kid, ever tries to do that, I'll just boom.
Oh, and you're gonna see people doing this.
Get off
to their,
Yeah, like that. Like the moment they start having hologram and holographic technology, if that's what you're talking about.
Well, I just mean
I'm on board with that.
sense of motion from this, and it's going to flip your page like it would on an iPhone or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't really care about that shit.
I don't care. I severely do not care about it being a part of my game.
And for some of the stuff that I have heard about the system, I don't like some of the stuff I've heard.
Who knows? And maybe they've waited this long because they saw what Sony did with their power, which we talked about in length, with the 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. And maybe they're like, wow, we're underpowered. We need to match that.
And I think maybe that's why they bumped it to May.
Who knows?
If that's what you're saying.
And if they did do that, I respect it because they're trying to... Then that means they're still trying to be a game machine first.
Yeah.
And that's what's important to me.
Well, if they're...
I hope most people... But based on the numbers, it's like entertainment center. And I'm like, I don't get that. I just don't understand that.
I think there are a lot of people out there, though, that do, that are gamers second, whereas we're gamers first. I don't buy my game systems to have YouTube and
no,
all
like
that
if
crap.
I want to use YouTube, it's my laptop, my tablet, and I understand they're integrating all this stuff with that entertainment. And again, we can't answer everything, how it's going to work. But for me, it's games first, and it always will be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, for me too. I don't
care.
Very rarely
HBO Go and can, I don't know.
I could probably count on one hand how many times I've streamed videos that weren't game trailers on my Xbox. So
it's game, and I want to see what Microsoft's doing so I can weigh them against each other.
Well, and that's exactly
what I want to do. If anything other than to fulfill my own need to, compare and write about them. I just want to see so you can put a barometer on where these two consoles are at and what their mindset is. Are they going to cater to me as a gamer?
Yeah.
Or are they going a completely different direction that I don't want to be a part of?
Well, because the chances of they're going to launch in a pretty close window.
Oh yeah, they'll be right in the same month.
Within a month, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
So, that Black Friday weekend is...
I just know, I think, unless Microsoft comes out and does something very impressive, which they're capable of.
I think that they will do something pretty impressive.
They've lost a lot of mindset, like just gauging the tone of the conversation from commenters on the internet.
Well, I've seen lots of people on IGN saying, like, if what they're saying about, say, like, only, like, playing installed games and, like, you won't be able to necessarily trade your games in and stuff like this. That's how they're trying to do that.
DRM features that lock out use. Are they going to lock out use games?
Well, and
no, I don't think they will. But if they do that, that lends. See, part of me thinks that Microsoft is very high on their horse, and rightfully so.
Well, and that's what I think. But what's happening? We're seeing what Sony went through with the PS2.
With the PS3, if they take that bravado shit and they're like, "Fuck use games." We don't care about that. You're going to have to be always online. You're going to do this. People are honestly going to just say, screw you, we're done.
Yep.
And I would never, if that was it. And it's not that big of a deal to me, but it's just an extra reason why I don't need to be a part of that.
Yeah. So, I've been a happy Xbox player for many years now, but I've also got my PS3 and I play that a lot too. So to me, it's not about the name on the box. It's about what games I'm going to get to play on that box. So, yeah.
Give me the box. Give me the box, Donovan.
I need box. I need box. Give me box.
Shit. I guess that's it.
I
run out of things to talk about. My throat's sore.
Yeah, I'm ready to eat.
Yeah. Where are you taking me?
Well, we'll figure that out in a minute.
I'm always hungry, ladies and gentlemen.
You are not, man.
I never said what I'm hungry for.
Oh, okay. Well,
I could be hungry for knowledge. Hungry for love.
He's hungry for booty.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 15.
Actually,
what are we going to call this one?
Really quickly, I want to send out a shout out to Daniel Bloodworth from GT. He's one of the
cool name.
Yeah. He's a big music guy on GT. He does a show called Backtrack, and they recently did an episode where they showcased Super Metroid. Basically talking, it was the first game where it kind of got creeped out from the music and the atmosphere of the game and this kind of thing. It's a really cool show. I wanted to send a shout out because we've talked a lot about music.
It's a retro gaming show?
Well, it's just one of the shows they do on game trailers, and it might cover something in the past, might be a current game, but he's centering out games with really good music, and that's something that we really appreciate on this show.
We still
as
got to
well.
do our music episode.
So I just
Which
want to
will
send a
probably
quick
be
shout out
3 hours long.
to him, and I want to make sure that he checks out our podcast.
We'll
as
send
well.
it to him.
So I'm going
And
to
if
do
he
that.
doesn't, he's a damn fool. He's a bloody, as for his word, or his last name, he's a bloody fool. Anyway, I gotta say it again. New Gamer Nation,
That's
we're
right.
still going strong. We had our best month in terms of traffic last month.
Fantastic.
That's newgamernation.com. I'm the community manager there and editor. What's up, Joe? Not forgetting about you. I'm just busy. Sorry, man. And yeah, episode 15 in the bag. I don't know what we're gonna call this one.
I'll figure it out.
Maybe we have a good name.
Yeah.
Again, on Twitter, you can reach us. I'll attach all that in the blog post. Subscribe to us on iTunes.
Yeah.
Grizzled Veterans. And yeah, episode 15. Peace.